That's right. Ashok Gehlot's son has lost Vaibhav Gehlot by nearly 2 lakh votes, and somebody who's also been campaigning in the state of Rajasthan and been, very responsible for a number of those victories. Sachin Pilot, many congratulations. How do you look at the verdict?
Thank you very much. I think the takeaway from the counting and the results so far is quite clear. It's that the governance provided by the BJP NDA for the last 10 years has not got a thumbs up from the people. The numbers, the coalition, government formation, what will happen, next few days will tell. But the real takeaway is that the sense of arrogance that seeped into the ruling party and the way in which people have voted clearly shows that there's a pushback, and despite getting some numbers, it is not what was claimed. You see, the bar was set so high, 300 par, 400 par, 500 par, and ultimately what happened was that in the strongholds, there's been a strong pushback by the voters. So this election was fought on issues for the people, and the Congress and the India Alliance was clearly focused on enunciating those issues, not the religious issues, not the fear-mongering and not the unparliamentary language being used, but focus on farmers, young people, jobs, inflation, real issues of this country. And people have actually, I think, given us the response that we were expecting. Like I said, tomorrow I think the India Alliance partners will meet and take a call on what the future course of action should be. But just the numbers so far indicate that the kind of management and the kind of exit polls that were projected and the kinds of narrative that was being thrust upon the people, that's been clearly not accepted by the majority of people.
And do you think somewhere down the line the Congress as well as the India Alliance should try to form government, even though the numbers are not completely entirely for you at this stage?
I think it's too early to comment on those things because we fought this election as a coalition. So it's wrong for any one party to speak out of line. I think once the leaders meet tomorrow and take a considered view as to what the numbers are, what is required to be done, we will do that. Whatever may be the outcome of that discussion tomorrow. But today, just since the morning, what we've witnessed really is, I think, the sort of complacency that we were seeing is not something people of India like. They prefer humility than arrogance, and they prefer delivery and sort of connect. And in India, what we saw in the last few years, that the gap between the rich and poor kept increasing. The misuse of agencies, bundling of chief ministers into prisons, the real misuse of government machinery and undermining of institutions, really important issue. And people genuinely, I think, were quite right in thinking that if you give someone too much power or some party too much leeway, they will try and then misuse it. And I think that message has resounded in the results so far.
Some would say, sir, that a person like you, I mean, after the Gandhis, you were most sought after, and this is, I verified with the Congress headquarters, that, for being most sought after across India for campaigning. What do you feel really in short, is it that, the index of opposition unity? Because this is in many ways an unexpected victory in the way, things that...
According to media channels, but all of us for the last few months knew that, when you start doing excessive stuff, people don't like that. And I must tell you, when Mr. Gandhi did his walk across, the length and breadth of this country, the kinds of interactions he'd had and the kind of response we saw, and the connect with the people and enthusiasm, the workers were enthusiastic. And what really works is on the polling day, your Congress party worker, are they enthused or not? And just to cite an example, in states where people were thinking BJP will get 100% seats, they're less than half. So it's a clear indication. And I think someone somewhere should take moral responsibility for what has transpired today. I think the campaign that Mr. Gandhi did, Mr. Kharge did, Priyanka ji, of course. So we all worked hard. All of us worked hard. But I think our campaign, our manifesto, and to be honest with you, during the entire campaign, no one knew what the BJP manifesto says. It was the Congress manifesto, for whatever reason, became talk of the town because they were real people's issues. So the campaign, the narrative, the hard work that leaders and the workers put in, and I think the opposition coming together itself, sent a very strong message to people that there is an alternative, right? And I think the kind of attacks that were made on leaders, agencies were misused, parties were broken, all that, I think this election results so far indicates that all of that is not acceptable to the wise voters of this country.
One final question about Rajasthan. How do you view that victory in the sense, it's not really a thing, you just got 10 or 11 seats.
We're leading in 11
seats. Yeah, so that's clearly an indication that things haven't gone well for the BJP because they didn't put Vasundhara. Is it beyond that, or what? How do you look at it?
I think there are multiple reasons, but in Rajasthan and also in Haryana, the Congress party has done well. We fought a very good election. Our candidate selections were very good. And even though, like
you all work together also.
We all work together. I think this is a much larger election. It's not about individuals. But Rajasthan, our campaign and the new government that's been there for 4, 5, 6 months really left no impression on the people. And all the promises made, etc. As you know, Rajasthan, we win one election, we lose one election. Alternate karte hain hum log wahan pe. But this time, despite having a new government, I think they were not able to. There are multiple power centers and pulls and pressures. But the Congress selection of candidates, our campaigning, the issues that we took up, Agniveer, farmers' issues, they are really important issues to people in the Hindi heartland. And the results in Rajasthan show that.
So here you have it, Sachin Pilot, who has really helped the Congress party, apart from the Gandhis, campaigning across the length and breadth of this country, being able, speaking to us and explaining to us what are the issues, not yet committing on whether they'll came for that government formation, but India Alliance partners will definitely be working through the night to try to get coalition, many people to be part of that alliance.
But what's the sense you're picking up, Sunil? Because one of the, from when you heard Rahul Gandhi in the press conference, he turned around and said this was a battle to protect the constitution we did. You have some of the allies pushing it, but at 100, Sunil, and BJP at 240, 238, 240, it's still a mile and a half away from single party majority. Even in 2004, the Congress was at 145. What's the sense you're picking up? Is it really working towards that, or is this just a way to say that we want to keep the cohesive alliance going as a strong opposition, so we will consult our partners before deciding?
I think they're trying to keep the coalition partners together. 130. If you talk about 2004, it was 145, 138. At that time, here, of course, you're right, 240 to 100. But please remember, the Congress party, for the first time in independent India, has only contested in 328 seats, and after that, 2 had already been given to Surat as well as Indore, where you saw what has happened. So it's in that backdrop that the index of opposition unity is very different, and that is the pre-poll alliance has really been able to do wonders in terms of working, especially as Sachin pointed out, in Rajasthan as well as, of course, in Uttar Pradesh.
Sorry, Gargi. Sunil, if you have still Sachin Pilot with you, just one quick question. Is the choice between a strong opposition vis-a-vis a weak and unstable government, is that the choice that the Congress has to make now?
Sachin, there's a question from the studio. Would you prefer a weak government or a strong opposition? Because, if you have a coalition, if the India Alliance does forge an alliance, it's going to be, back to UPA 1. Without that full numbers, you don't have, a very strong single largest party.
It's not about my preference. It's the verdict of the people. What will come out of it, we will only know tomorrow once the meeting happens of the India Alliance. But a coalition can be strong or weak, depends on who's leading it and what circumstances there are. And I always feel that we should have a strong opposition no matter which party it is. So it's very clear that tomorrow, once we all sit down together and figure out what the best way forward, not just for us, but for the country, what needs to be done, what are the options, what are the final numbers, it's far too early to speak. And I think Mr. Gandhi and Mr. Kharge very clearly said that unless we speak to our partners, I think it's decency demands that we have a clear, open-hearted discussion with the leaders of our alliance and then take a final call.
So here you have it. No clear answer, because it's extremely difficult, and I think anybody would like to be absolutely sure, whoever is joining, who is going to get what ministry, what is the kind of cabinet that is going to be formed. You have to be absolutely clear at any particular stage, and there are a lot of contradictions that will take place, and it's in that context that the India Alliance will have to forge and see whether they'll work as an opposition or try to form a government. Ultimately, it is the president who will have to call the single largest party poll formation, and in that case it will be the NDA which will be asked to first form a government. That's been the convention since President K.R. Narayanan and it has been followed by successive
Right.
presidents
Sunil,
after that.
if we can
I
now
think
just
that
talk
principle
about,
has
the
to be
current
followed.
results and about Chhattisgarh. If you can get Sachin to respond, what's gone wrong there? Chhattisgarh just, one seat, 10 have gone to the NDA.
What happened in Chhattisgarh? What's the reason for why the Congress didn't do well?
Well, Chhattisgarh, we had 2 seats in the last election. And historically, Chhattisgarh, since the state was formed, we haven't gotten more than 2 or 3 seats out of 11. So this time we were hoping to better that score, but we haven't. We've got 1 seat, and the other one, it's a 2,000 vote difference. Counting is still on. We were hoping to do better, but I think Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, both states, we need to work harder because we didn't make any progress in Madhya Pradesh either. So organizationally, politically, some things need to be tinkered with and made better. We'll certainly do that in the future. But like I keep saying, the Congress as a political party, we should, and we have been focusing on states. Once you win, we won the Telangana elections and Karnataka election, Himachal election. When you win the state elections, it really gives a momentum for the workers across the country to work harder for the national elections. So I think moving forward, we have to start focusing on winning back states. I think that really adds to the strength of the organization.
So it's back to ground zero in terms of in Chhattisgarh to try to because it's Bhupesh Baghel couldn't even retain even though
Yes,
he tried
but
that,
you see,
which has traditionally been a BJP seat.
Chhattisgarh, we lost the state assembly elections by a margin of 1.5% votes. So it wasn't a huge difference. We were not able to form the government. But the difference of vote share was 1.5%. It wasn't that much. But in the Lok Sabha elections, I was hoping we'll do better than what we've done. We will certainly have a talk with the leaders of the state and see what best can be done. But both these states, I think a lot of work needs to be done, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh.
So thank you. And that's Sachin Pilot for you speaking to us
All right. Thanks so
exclusively
much
through
for that,
NDTV.
Sunil.